finally, 11 o'clock on the dot, well, Central, and it's probably midnight Eastern time. So, but then again, the West Coast, y'all got it easy. Y'all, it's probably 9 p.m. like right now for you guys. Okay, so it's gonna be like a camera's gonna be brighter one after another. So I apologize. Um, we're not gonna talk about anything, Bucks wise today. I think I did all that energy for the past few days talking about, Bucks this and Bucks that. So I'm all Bucksed out today. So we're not gonna talk about that, but just to rewind it back, we will talk about, this past not yesterday, but last week Saturday's TNA Genesis pay per view, the first pay per view of the year. So we're gonna talk about that. Also talk about last night's Saturday night's main event, and I apologize for not updating y'all when it comes to doing the preview. Talk about my predictions and stuff like that. Like I say, it's been one crazy month for me. So I'm back here in Milwaukee, then also going back to in Racine County, so I'm like back and forth there. Then I had to come here for work and donating and stuff. So just back and forth until I can find a place in Milwaukee to move into. So I can be like more relaxed. So like I said, talk about wrestling and talk about stuff that's Milwaukee Development. And so Marvel content will be coming out this Tuesday, and that will be Wonder Man. So all 8 episodes of that will be going on. So maybe we might talk about a little bit of that, but we'll just see was there some interesting comic book content just to talk about. So yeah. So I'm gonna repeat the same thing for the people that's gonna watch it pre-recorded, and we're gonna get to it. So let me okay. So hopefully, this only lasts for like an hour, so that's what I'm hoping. So, bear with me. So let's get started. Ooh, excuse me. Apologize, guys. It's just been a long, day for me. For those who don't know, if you're not like in the Milwaukee area, most of my son's, well, yeah, my son's belongings and few minor things that that was put in with Maddie's Mary stuff that was in there as well. So some minor stuff of that, and most of our son's stuff. Yeah, it's been a fire at the U-Haul on Walker's Point in Milwaukee. So I guess somehow a fire started to happen, and yeah, a lot of stuff just been ruined. So some like damages, and yeah, like our son like had a storage locker room, like I said, with minor Maddie's Mary stuff, and a lot of our son's stuff, which he recently brought and got all that stuff. Start showed up fresh after coming back from the army, because he's in the National Guard, and he's still there. He went back there last week and just there for like another week. Then should be back sometime next week. So yeah, it's like feeling bad for him, lose all that stuff and things like that, and trying to turn his life around. So there have been some minor hiccups of his, but he's getting better. He is getting better. So I'm glad to see that. And like I say, it just sucks that majority of his stuff was just like in ruins, so we had to throw everything away because the water damage and like smoke in it. Um, yeah, it was like it was got burning on fire. So yeah, that's just insane. So like I don't know what he's gonna do like moving forward when he gets back. So I guess we're gonna try to like plan something. Right now, he's staying with us in Mount Pleasant. That's in like Racine County. So right now he's just staying with us temporarily until we officially find a place. So hopefully by April we will find a place. But enough of the bad news. So what we're gonna talk about today, and I already talked this to the people that's watching live on YouTube and also on my personal TikTok page. Well, yeah, page, wherever you want to call it. We are going to talk about Saturday night's main event that happened last night. Normally I would do like a prediction video like the day before, but didn't have the opportunity, didn't have a chance, and I was just so tired and all this stuff that's going on all this month, and trying to get my self established. So you're going to see me doing some shows, back here at the old place and also at the temporary place. But anyway, like I said, we're gonna talk about TNA Genesis, Saturday night's main event, Milwaukee Development. That's what's going on here. So we're gonna talk about that. See if there's like any movies and TV news to talk about as well. But as for anything Milwaukee Bucks, they supposed to have a game today. They didn't because the Mavericks could not have nowhere, no how, they had no way to try to get here in time, and they although our weather is bad here, but I think they were suffering the worst because it's kind of I wouldn't say it's very rare, but it's starting to be common lately that Dallas is getting the cold that we're getting. So yeah, that's crazy. And you thinking like all these southern states and stuff, they was going to be like all warm and things like that, but yeah, yeah, this cold ain't no joke. It really isn't. Especially being here in the Midwest, there's things you used to like, but then again, every now and then you hear like this 40 degrees below zero and stuff like that. That happens every now and then. But yeah, the cold is nothing new. Let's just put it that way. And I'm still keeping my hat on because I'm like it's decent in here, but it's not like warmy warmy. But then again, that's not my big concern. Um, oh, excuse me. But anyway, guys, we're gonna just talk about the results of TNA Genesis. I'm not gonna rate it or grade it because I didn't fully watch it. Which shame on me. And I was on a wanted to try to get the yearly membership for TNA. To see every single pay per view. But I'm gonna try to like do something around maybe either next month or March or probably after when I finally got like a permanent place to move into. So, but anyways, let's go on. So let's see the results. Okay, so they did have the international championship match. Fatal four way with Eric Young, Stacks, and BDE and KJ Orso. Um, okay, yeah, he's returning. So okay, must have been he probably was temporarily there before I guess he got injured or contract dispute. Who knows? But of course, Stacks retained. So then shocking there. Um, let's see. Okay, so really ain't much to talk about. So oh okay. So the other cat now oh they had another chick Mila Moore and Tessa Blanchard went against Chiz, Vicky Vendel, and Indy Hartwell. So they bringing new stars from what it seems like. So Subliminal Conception 24. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. And for you guys that's watching on YouTube, please do me a favor and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and when we get to like 1,000 subscribers, we are going to start doing giveaways. So if you guys going to want some free stuff, please subscribe. You never know what the free stuff is going to be. You never know. If you guys that's watching, on my personal TikTok page, we're trying to get to up to 500 likes. So if we can get to 500 likes in today's episode, I will give away a photo of Bushwhacker Luke. It's autograph. So, you guys interested in that, keep up with the likes. So, well, we're gonna get some likes up there so we can let people know that I'm on, and maybe they will, get an opportunity. So we're gonna start with 100, and we're gonna just gonna get see if we can get the 500 more. So it will be 600 total. Let's see. Just realized for a second. Hey, what's going on? Landon M. Hey, welcome to the live. I appreciate it. Let's see. And like I was just saying, like, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so we can, start doing the giveaways. So it could be anything. You never know what the giveaway is, going to be. Could be anything. So there we go. So like I said, for you guys that's on my personal TikTok page, we are going to do a giveaway as soon as we reach to 600 likes. So when we get to that point, I will give away a autographed picture of Bushwhacker Luke. So I do have those. So yeah. So come on, y'all want some free stuff? So come on. But anyways, back to this. So I guess this new team of Tessa Blanchard and Mia Moore did win that team. Whatever. So it was decent. It had like two pre-show matches, which I think wasn't like an hour. It was an hour or a half an hour. I'm not sure. But at least TNA does like put matches on their pre-shows, not like having a 2 hour pre-show with WWE and nothing, and repeat the same thing that we already know. I don't know. But anyways, okay, so they kick off the pay-per-view with AJ Francis versus Rick Swan, in which they're fighting again this Thursday. So don't know. AJ Francis did win. Probably wouldn't be surprised, but okay. But then again, AJ Francis, he does need to be on his own. So I guess you was thinking with the freaking first, I think he called this group like First Class. So you kick out Casey in the bring in Rick Swan, then Rick Swan and them having to change your heart, and now these two going at it. So yeah, AJ Francis did win, and not surprised. Oh, okay, they're gonna talk about the inside of the new museum in a minute. So when they get to that point, we're gonna pause, this and let it play, and they're gonna talk about the new public museum that we're gonna have. That's gonna open early next year. So the outside of it is done. I think they might have to put like some windows and stuff up, but they're mostly from the looking for the inside is maybe like about maybe 45% done. That's my guess. So when they get to there, we will listen and they can talk about it. So anyways, let's see. Elijah going against Mustafa Ali. And of course, Mustafa Ali, with the help of his older four, defeat Elijah. So that's kind of common. It looks like he ain't had no backup. So that sucks. Like, where was the Hardys? Oh, wait a minute. The older four, but Tasha Steelz ended up getting all ejected from the picture that I'm looking at. Okay, final match of JDC's career overall. So I didn't think he would, retire, but I guess maybe he got other stuff going on in his life, and didn't see the match, but I heard it was a very good one. For JDC's last match going against Eddie Edwards. Although Eddie Edwards did win, but they hug it out and stuff like that afterwards. So but if y'all can fast forward to this past Thursday, they JDC said he was going to have his, his replacement, but he did his replacement, and I think it was Bear Bronson that was going to take his place. Um, Eddie Edwards gave JDC a hug, then low blow JDC. So, well, majority of the system was shocked, like what are you doing? Then, out of nowhere, Moose gets attacked. So it was like, okay, let me pause that for a moment.
New home, and it's taken a long journey to get there, including nearly $90 million in public financing, both from the state and Milwaukee County. Museum leaders say they welcome more than 500,000 visitors each year from all 72 counties in the state, and we recently got an exclusive look inside what will be the new Milwaukee Public Museum with a new statewide focus. On the outside, it looks almost complete.
Yeah.
Inside, the work is just beginning.
Not surprised.
Behind me that we have the stairs, the monumental stairs going in. You can see drywall activities, a lot of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing rough-ins.
Kirk Tinney is the vice president of Mortensen Construction, leading construction of the new Milwaukee Public Museum. I'm just curious, how intricate of a whole project is this?
On a scale of 1 to 10, this one's out of 10. This project's not just a construction project; we're literally building a work of art.
These renderings show what the museum will look like when it's finished. A 5-story building complete with an outdoor rooftop terrace, butterfly garden, cafe, classrooms, planetarium, and several floors of exhibit galleries.
Classrooms.
Being carefully constructed to represent Wisconsin's rich history.
The architecture on the outside was inspired by Milwaukee State Park. We're standing on the first floor here where all three entrances collect, and it's the public-facing side of the museum that allows the museum and this property specifically to connect the neighborhoods to the downtown district.
For generations, the Milwaukee Public Museum has stood at the corner of James Lovell and Wells Street downtown. In 2027, it will relocate to 6th and McKinley near Fiserv Forum. When the new museum opens in its new location at 6th and McKinley, it'll be the Nature and Culture Museum of Wisconsin.
Our collections are natural history collections and cultural collections.
Okay, Nature and Cultural Museum of Wisconsin. So that's the new name.
Is the museum's president and CEO.
Keep forgetting the name of it and try to think of it and it's just something I just forget.
We do a really good job of covering it up, and visitors don't actually see that, but it's just not going to take us into the future.
As they work to create a more modern facility, they're working to reimagine some of the museum's most beloved features.
For instance, let's talk about the streets of Old Milwaukee.
Wants to know about
because everybody, we all love it.
Oh yeah, we all love that.
Milwaukee Revealed will be very similar to the streets in that it will be a streetscape that you walk through, buildings that surround you. The difference is we are not having one time period. We have old buildings, we have newer buildings. Like Milwaukee today.
That'd be cool.
But still that immersive walk-through environment.
What do you hope that people from across the state will be able to take away from this new space?
We hope that when they walk in, they feel familiar, but they're excited about the new too.
For those of us that have been born and raised in Milwaukee, like myself, they have visited the museum in its current location since we were kids.
Yeah.
Being able to build a place where our kids and our
grandkids, but it's been like 6 years since I last was at the Public Museum.
For a new generation. Matt, a really fascinating tour and still a lot of work to be done. The Nature and Culture Museum of Wisconsin is scheduled to open in the first quarter of next year. Yeah, you're in a fascinating.
Okay, so probably no later than March. Okay, that makes sense. So the museum is going to open no later than March of next year. So, well, that's kind of good because I know the inside of it they still got to do it, and I know time end of this year up with the stuff they have is going to move to the new museum. So we probably won't be able to see the museum in the beginning of next year. So we got to end up waiting until March. It seems like it's going to open no later than March, and that's probably the time they get in and good to see the place. So it's cool. I did see it firsthand, and I thought, it was unbelievably looking good. And it's kind of good that, it's nearby the Deer District. So, that's one of the good things about it. So, anyways, back to this. So, like I said, like Moose got attacked, and just seemed like, God, I can't believe I forgot his name. He was known as Kurt Hawkins in WWE, but he's God darn it, can't remember his name. That's crap. Brian Myers, yeah, Brian Myers, yeah. So I guess he joined in, with Eddie Edwards and Bear Bronson, to beat up Moose and JDC. Cedric Alexander came out there, and we thought he was helping them, but he ended up attacking Moose. So yeah, so there's a new system. We don't know where Alicia Edwards allies with the group because she's confused as everybody else they were. So, and I know this was kind of like a situation she was in before. She was confused, with how Eddie Edwards' motives were, because that was a storyline like a long time ago. Before he joined, with Moose and Brian Myers and formed the system. So yeah, it's just crazy. But then again, Moose has always been a big fan favorite. So either he was like heel or face, everybody still liked him. So I'm just glad they went to this route with the with Moose, like like separate him away from the group because he really didn't need him. He really didn't. But I guess there gotta be something. Yeah, they did their injury report and intergender match. Okay, so I really had to one day rewatch this pay per view and like go from there. So that's interesting. Intergender match. So Ryan Nemeth went against Mata Shade. Um, cool. But oh man, come on. Oh, he had the tights. That's why. So Ryan Nemeth did cheat to win. So ended up beating Marta Say. How are you gonna end up? Okay, you find a woman intergender match and you need to cheat. I don't know. It's just some of these matches you thinking like, okay, why did they went this route? Like the concept and stuff is like good and set up, but like the finish, just the finish. Like, are you kidding me? Um, now, something y'all probably missed. Not not this past Saturday, which was yesterday. I meant the Saturday before. Um, but a few days before, they had this match with the for the Knockouts title. You had Leyland Lee with Zaire Brookslide in the corner. Then we thought Sororuka was gonna go for the challenge for the Knockouts title, but they ended up she ended up giving her spot to Zaria, which cool. Um, because I'm thinking like she's one of the few people in NXT that's getting underlooked, and like like I'm cool with the tag team of her and Sororuka. I'm cool with that, but they need to like put her out there more. And I think that's just sad. Well, with creating and stuff like that, and I still gotta watch on season 2 of Unreal because half the stuff I heard about Unreal right now is getting fans, shaking their heads about creative. But another place, another time, we'll talk about the even creator. I probably will do a separate video on that sometime soon. Probably after I'm done watching season 2 of Unreal because I still gotta finish up season 1, and I think I'm on the final episode of season 1 of Unreal. It was, of course, Lenian Lee did win the match, and seems like it was some good and fair action. So yeah, why not? Let's see. Of course, Elena Black, the newest knockout signee that made her debut not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before. And I think everybody was shocked because she was like saying that I'm not gonna do wrestling anymore. If y'all know who Elena Black is, She was formerly known in NXT as Cora Jade. Anyways, okay, tag team championships. The Hardys defended against the Righteous, and let's see, the Hardys did retain. Okay, well, understandable. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, it was gonna be a triple threat match. You got Cedric Alexander, Moose, and we're gonna be Leon Slater, but he ended up going, you know, to the UK to perform on SmackDown, and he did accept the Carmelo Hayes challenge for the United States Championship belt. And yeah, them two did put on a classic match, so I thought it was great. And yeah, need a little bit of water, but Deion Slater shows that he's going to be the future of the wrestling business. Either if he like still with TNA or he goes like the WWE or something like that. But the future is bright for the guy. Um, but Joe Hendry ended up, taking Leon Slater's place. So it's him, Cedric Alexander, and Moose, and Joe Hendry did win. So interesting. Uh, let's see. I guess they had to make like Joe Hendry strong because now he's officially on NXT, but he can go back and forth with TNA if they want him to. The deal that seems like it's going to last all the way through 2028. So there could be more stars in the horizon and more stars like be appearing both in TNA and NXT. So exciting to see. So it looked like it's going great so far. And if they somehow end up renegotiating and get like a better deal or something like that, because you'll see like a few WWE stars, like AJ Styles. I think he appeared at one point. Oh no, he premiered at the when they moved to AMC in their first episode. Oh, and you get some like classics and stuff like that, like some like guys from the past that's with the WWE and TNA partnership. Excuse me. Still good to see. Okay, now the main event, Mike Santana defending his newly won TNA World Title for the second time, and just hopefully, well, it didn't end up in a short reign because I already know that who won, but the conclusion of this match, I'm going to explain to y'all if y'all didn't see it. So, yeah, Mike Santana did, retain the, of course, he retained the TNA World Title, defeating Frank Kazarian. Although, it was a moment for Frankie Kazarian to hold, like, the TNA title, like, finally. But I think, like, at some point, Frankie Kazarian will get, like, a proper run, not just holding it for, like, 2 months. Let's see. After the match, Nick sends Santana to the danger zone. Nick was about to call a shot, but Santana takes him out for the spin to block, which is his finish move. So, he quickly recovered and ended up, attacking Nick Nemeth. So, trying to get his call a shot, but I think they're going to drag this for a while. And if they do, I hope they do, let it keep dragging. Like I said, maybe, if you want him to, if you want like Santana to hold it up to like Bound for Glory, or you want him to lose that Slammiversary, that's fine. So at least this time around he'll have a little bit of a longer run, and that's all we wanted to see. Like have some of these champions defend and also have like a long run, at least a decent run. But before we move on, I think you already know about the insane thing that all four of the Rascals were signed to AEW, but at one point, now I guess it was something on Trey Miguel's past that they decided to not sign them. I guess I don't know if it's something like a race thing or something like that. I'm not sure, but they made it seem like it was something like similar to Zachary Wentz when he was with NXT. And for him doing the Nazi stuff, they end up letting him go. And he just like gone from the company. He had a little bit of time. Like maybe like a year. Then came back to the scene in TNA. So yeah, it all worked out. Then and he also made some stints in NXT during that time anyway when he had that feud with Wesley, which is now known as Desmond Xavier. I don't know. I just think sometimes wrestlers should keep the names they come in with instead of WWE trying to change it. I don't know. But sometimes some wrestlers may have the option. What maybe they want to change it. So, but yeah, Trey Miguel did resign with TNA, and he ended up getting one of the briefcase this past Thursday. They had the Feast of Fire match. So he ended up with a briefcase. Eddie Edwards ended up with a briefcase. I believe that what's his name? Uh, Steve Macklin. Yeah, he ended up with a briefcase, and somebody else ended up with Eric Young ended up with a briefcase. He ended up taking it from Hometown Man. So yeah, because the rules, I guess you can get the suitcase, you can get down, but you got to get out of the ring. And Eric Young ended up taking Hometown Man's mask. So Hometown Man ended up fumbling it, and Eric Young ended up grabbing it. So this coming Thursday on Thursday Night Impact, we will find out if they're gonna get a world title match, international championship match. I think another one is the X Division title match. I don't know if they added the tag match on there. Not sure. Or they're gonna get fired. And if, for Trey Miguel, just resigning it with him and end up, getting the like getting the fire briefcase, that would not make any sense. So we already know he's gonna have like one of the title shots. In my opinion, I hope it's the world title match because I think Trey Miguel actually deserved to run to go, for the title. Although he may not win it, but hey, anything can happen. But for you, so they own AMC right now, with the new TV deal, and I don't know how their ratings are at the moment. I don't know because I managed to end up just watching it like afterwards because I think this past Thursday it was because the game was on. Yeah, and I think I was here or I was at my temporary home. I'm not sure, but yeah. So and TNA did made some announcements about some trips that they're gonna make. So another one is gonna be in Atlanta. Maybe see if I can find it. Um, as y'all see right there, the new system. And see, Alicia Edwards is really not pleased. And of course, As by Elegance is clear to wrestle now. So yeah, their next pay per view is No Surrender, which would be, I think that's a Friday, February. Yeah, Friday, February 13th. So interesting. Then I know they got a show in March. I'm trying to think. Oh, Sacrifice is in March, like March 27th. So that's that, and they will be in New Orleans for that. And okay, so we know they got I forgot their April pay per view, but they didn't announce where that's going to be yet. But stay tuned. Maybe it'll be announced like sooner or later. TNA to Milwaukee. I'm begging you, please. Okay, so enough about that, and let's get to last night's Saturday night's main event. So we will get into what we just talked about with Milwaukee Development in a bit. So There was a match that was on there last night, but they scraped it out, and it ended up being 4 matches in a 2 hour special event, which is, in my opinion, still kind of stupid. They could have added one more or two more, but I did a video about about Bruce Pritchard was saying the same thing, like saying less is more, and like you know, in my opinion, I think with creative and stuff, I'm not saying although Triple H is head creative, and I think he's like done an amazing job, but the cronies, the yes men like Bruce Pritchard and Michael P.S.A's, I don't know. Seems like they're lost. They're really lost. No, they want to complain about all this stuff like less is more when it came to the stuff like in the 80s and 90s, and now you want to say less is more, but you want to get a lot of money out of people that have to pay like about what, like 80, $90 for like upper level for like the nosebleeds. And I'm sorry, it's just not making sense. And it's going to be the crazy thing at one point that of course AEW is still going to stick with their ticket prices. Same thing with TNA. um I know WWE, they just really got to get to the program, well, especially TKO, because I don't think they don't know what the hell they're doing. But anyways, sorry, yeah, I know it's that time. I'm trying to hurry up. So I forgot which match that they exited out, but in the I think AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura ended up taking this place. Although they still could have had another match and could have kept all 5 of those matches going, but they decided to go down to 4. Well, Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu was really not a match. This is something different. They just let them like brawl all around, the arena. Then, Drew McIntyre, oh, excuse me, Drew McIntyre came in, ended up beating both of them. So, like I said, you might as well call it like a non-sanctioned match, but nobody didn't get the pin or submit it. Oh my god, I got the hiccups now. So yeah, you might as well just say, the match didn't even start, so you can't say it was no contest or anything like that. It just didn't start. Um, Great women's tag team championship match. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky did beat Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Like I say, good match. Can't complain about that. But I know I was doing the video at the same time too. Watching that match, but yeah, I managed. So I just wonder what's going to happen next with Judgment Day, and I know Raquel Rodriguez is like trying to fight to have her finally have a world title for the first time. Classic matchup. It did exceeded more this match than the match they had against each other at WrestleMania, and I believe it was it 32 or something like that? I'm not sure. I think it was 32, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so y'all probably don't know, like over the weekend on SmackDown. Oh, not SmackDown, but on Raw. Of course, AJ Styles is gonna put his career on the line going against Gunther at the Royal Rumble. So AJ loses, his career is over. So, and I thought they wanted extend it longer than that, but then again, this could have been AJ's decision if he like ended up losing this. So it could have been his decision, but he decided, months ago, 2026 will be his final year of like in-ring competition. But I'm thinking like he's like maybe we're like a few years older than me, I believe. But yeah. But any, but anyways, I thought I was hearing something, but AJ Styles did beat Shinsuke. Like I said, classic match. They both shake hands and raise each other's hand at the end. It didn't end up with Shinsuke doing the low blow on him. So yeah. I think WWE is finally stopping on trying to make Shinsuke Nakamura heel. It doesn't work. And I'm glad he's going back to. Hey, speaking of which, my lovely wife is on my personal TikTok page. So yeah, so people that's watching, say hi. That's cool. It was the main event, of course, with the Fatal Four Way. So the winner of that one will face Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. So Sami Zayn ended up winning, beating Randy Orton, Damian Priest, and Trick Williams. Another good match, and I still think they can still do good with the can add like other matches and that. I miss you too. I love that woman. Um, and I know some people probably be thinking about me and her relationship and stuff like that. But yeah, we been together for I would say like we known each other for like almost 19 years and been together for like 18, I believe. Yeah, 18. And this April will be 11 years married. Um, and it's like I know some people ain't saying it, but I know like maybe some people are thinking, how y'all end up, lasting this long in a relationship. My thing is like I guess like in the beginning I was at my lowest point in my life, and I guess it's like I needed help and didn't know how to get it, and I guess me being hurt in relationships so much and stuff was going on with my past and things like that. I I didn't know how to deal with it. You know, been in relationships. I've been played, I've been used, and all that stuff, and it just Stoop that low duct tape. Are you serious? Really? Duct tape? I'm sorry, but if y'all know about the duct tape thing, y'all gotta watch WWE Raw when time Batista and John Cena were feud. Y'all probably will get it if y'all see that feud. This is like the same year that Batista ended up leaving around after, it was a little bit after WrestleMania 26, and I think their pay per view they had was a Backlash, I believe, or it could be named something else. I'm not sure, but I know it was like the pay per view after WrestleMania 26. But anyways, yeah, I was at the lowest point in my life. Like I did, have a decent job, but I think like with the job I had, I wasn't going anywhere. Like I think, it was just like they just accepted me as, like the big stand manager, and I did like almost every single thing at that job, which I'm talking about the Bradley Center, when it was around. So I did almost every single thing at that job. Well, except for cooking and doing office work. So I busted my butt off for that job. For like it would have been 10 years if I would have stayed on for like another year. But yeah, 2010. Um, I wasn't welcome back because I didn't work any of the summer jobs because I was working at the time Miller Park, now known as American Family Field. But like straight to the point. Like I said, like the lowest point in my life, and like I didn't know who, like I don't know. I guess I was just like stubborn. Like I didn't know who to turn to. Like I couldn't turn to my mom. I couldn't turn to family. And I the best friend I had at the time was like I couldn't turn to him because he probably would have didn't That's not funny. Thank God you didn't cook. Oh my God. But my current job, I'm doing cooking from time to time. Especially for my own sandwich. But anyways, I know I'm going off subject, but I just have to mention this. If it wasn't for my lovely wife, um, I think maybe 10 years ago, even if I didn't meet her and I was going on on that same path for like 10 years, that would have been 2017. I don't think I would be alive today. So yeah, I was suicidal and just didn't know what to do in my life, and I'm trying everything, like try to be better, and things always get in the way and things like that. Like I'm just saying, yeah, things had gotten in the way now with certain wrestling promoter and cronies, but then again, not hearing much from them. But it was a point, like I had no ambitions. It was like seems like I'm stuck with this, same like two jobs, and I wasn't going to like get anywhere. And it's like I had to think about my future and things like that, like what I want to do for myself, because with my past I wasn't going to get anywhere. And yeah, so it was just like yeah, because I'm seriously, sometime in 2017 I would not be alive. I would probably would be dead, jail, or who knows, probably being in the psych ward for the rest of my life. So yeah, and plus, I did know some of the stages that I was early stages. I was in for mental illness, but then again, I was suffering it since I was 2 years old. Just didn't know anything about it, and I was like one of those phases is like I didn't believe it, but yeah, it it did, and the breaking point was we did lose our son. And I was blaming myself, like thinking it was like all my fault. Like, should I took in like better care of Hazel, or should I do more, or things like that, or because of my bad luck when it comes to like kids. I think the missus know about this story, but I don't think she does. But okay, it was like two abortions I had. This was before Hazel. Two abortions, one without my knowing, and one the person I was with didn't have a choice. It was like her life or the kid's life. So that one, um, and with the previous ex, she had a miscarriage, but wasn't sure if it was going to be a boy or a girl. So it could have been like the early stages of it. So yeah, um, yeah, I had a hard time getting over with. She didn't have an abortion. She had a. This was like way before you, with the abortion, and I think you probably knew, like, yeah, you probably know about my other ex too, where she was in Illinois. So for her, she couldn't keep it. It was either like her life or the baby's life. So, and plus it was the early stages enough, she can like don't want it, prevent it. I know, and I know the wife is saying, it's not my fault, but it was just times I just felt like it was me, and I guess I was more concerned like if I did have a kid, are they gonna suffer the same thing I did with my mental illness? And just looking at it, more and more that, of course, my mom, admitted that she was dealing with depression. So I got the depression from her. I may got the anxiety from her too, but everything else from like schizophrenic or things like that, I think I got it from my dad. Um, because we have me with mental illness. I'm not sure about my other two brothers, but I know the youngest brother of mine on my dad's side. Yeah, he's really dealing with it real hard. Um, Ran into him last week and like he was just like constantly like talking to himself. He's trying to get his life together, but I think he still needs some work to do. Sorry to get all subject and stuff like that, and the wife go on there. I had to talk about why I'm with her to this day. And the process, from where I was at after my troubles in the past, and still having troubles in the past, all the way through, today. So I know I came up with the idea, with WFSO, but she was the one that pushed me to it. If y'all read like the comment on the if you're looking on my personal RTLJ page, yeah, she did push me to do it, and few other friends at the time, it was like four of us, and we were hey, why not push narrative? We want to do something like how Pro Wrestling Report was doing when they were here. But I guess we didn't want to be like the exact same, so we were just thinking like, how can we be different? How can we be different than them? Pro Wrestling Report, back time, it was run by Damian Nelson. He was doing his own thing. Then, they rebranded and have Day Hero, part of it. It was like one of those things, like, we just wanted to be different. So it was just one thing that, Pro Wrestling, Report didn't do was they was promoting, GLCW stuff. But like I said, at the time, I didn't know anything about, independent wrestling. I didn't know, it exists until a certain person, got hold of us and said, what, we will like invite y'all to like our shows, which was REWF, Jeff Briggs. So, although to this day we do thank Jeff Briggs for giving us, our start, exploring, the independent wrestling scene, good or bad, it was still like a good experience, and I still, appreciate him for, kind of like showing us. I can say, yeah, showing us to the right path, the right direction on where WFSO as a whole needed to go. So I know the missus ain't gonna agree with that because she can't stand the guy, and I can understand why, and I agree why. But I guess it's like one of those things like you live and learn, and you like try to move on at the same time. But yeah, although a lot of problems like he caused, but I'm still grateful for the WFSO start. That's involved with REWF. So yeah. Oh, I dislike him, but he introduced us to like local wrestling. Yeah, he did. And that's why I was like just pointing out that yeah, he did introduce us, to like independent wrestling. Like we know all this stuff is going on. Then we ran into Josh, and when we was at the Buffalo Wild Wings, he was saying there was another show that's around like ICW. Check them out. Then it just started growing from there. So what we did, do highlights of of the show. Normally in the beginning, talk about it, just be like what my thoughts about it. Then show like the second half of the show, but like just the highlights part. And just mainly just put like local wrestling, independent wrestling out there. Because there are some people to this day that that's still not fan of independent wrestling, but they like the higher ups of wrestling, like WWE and stuff like that. So I think some people just need to learn like the people that you see that in WWE, TNA, and all that other stuff, where do you think they got their start from? Independence. Or you have some people, that what I'm going to try to go to WWE and just go through their training center and start from there. So yeah, I guess I can understand that. But yeah, um, I know I'm going off subject, but this could have been a good story enough to talk about on the Jones Chronicles whenever we decide to bring that back. We don't know, but anyways, I'm gonna rate this special event and grade it. So although I'm still got the funny feeling about with the less is more crap. You have like less matches, but you're gonna have more in like competition. But at the same time, you don't have to put like 30-minute matches of each. 30 minutes in each match. You can do like a 15 or 20 minute match, and it still be great, and you still have more spots to put like in more matches. So if you want to push, your other guys, you need to have more space. And it's just sad, they doing this route that they can't see that when it comes to events like, Saturday Night's Main Event or their PLEs. They only have like, four matches. It just don't make any sense. It really doesn't. Just specific like PLEs is understandable because, it's like Money in the Bank. You got like two gimmick matches, for the men and the women, and you're probably gonna have like room enough maybe have like 2 to 3 matches after those two. So those I can understand, but like anything else, there's no excuse. Like I said, Saturday Night's Main Event, there's no excuse they can have like 5 or 6 matches. There's none. And they probably, I love you too, honey. You have a good night. But all the BS and all that stuff that they claiming like less is more. No, you don't know everybody's attention span. And let's see how y'all like doing with money wise right now. If y'all if nobody's not investing in the product and y'all charging people like an arm and a leg, some people still going to go because some people got money like that and they still going to spend it. And plus part of their childhood they still going to spend it. Or you're going to have those people like myself, find a way, you can like you had Ticketmaster. Sometimes they had to know, pay for pay like pay buy now, pay later. They had that stuff, and I know some people ain't trustworthy of that, but they want to get it like out the way. So, cause yeah, there's gonna be those methods like that. You can do that, but you just wish all wrestling would have had that. Maybe cause Mano Lucha did have that with Access AXX, and I did that going to Mona Lucia and went through that and it really helped a lot. So I am gonna like keep doing that. Like probably same thing with WWE too. Like but I'm probably not gonna sit on those like seats that I'm not comfortable with because the seats in the arenas now for me and my size is not comfortable. Gaining, losing weight. So it's kind of like hard to maintain. But anyways, off script. I'm gonna grade it a B minus. Like I said, the matches was great, but I'm still sick and tired of the less is more shit that they trying to not the SHIT but shit, if you know what I'm saying. Like going away with the less is more crap. It's really stupid. It really is. Um, so B minus for that, and I have to give it a like I said, take away not having enough matches and trying to do too much stuff, and can really like cause I know injuries can happen in like matches, but at the same time, but if you can do like less time, like 15-minute match and nobody's injured, you've done a good job. You really like trying to do like 30, 40-minute matches and you're risking injury. I don't think they look at that. I know somebody gets injured, next man up, which is fine. Somebody get injured, next man up. Apparently they didn't use that method and when it came to ECW when Vince McMahon got it. So yeah, he changed it to his own vision. Just make it more WWE like, entertainment like, which ECW did not need that. But that's just the point I'm making. So a 7 out of 10 for the Saturday night's main event, and B minus for the grade. So yeah, we're gonna move on from that, and I know I went after over an hour, but let me see if there's trying to see if there's any wrestling news to talk about before we move on. So, because the next segment I'm going to talk about is going to end up being quick anyway. So, um, I'm sorry, I hate when this happens. So let me try to move my screen here, and there we go. Um, oh yeah, there's a news that Mike had sent me. So the thing was that Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to return to WWE, but they didn't say exactly when. And probably some of y'all may heard me like talk before that it'd be cool if they end up having King of the Ring this year because it'll be the 30th anniversary of Stone Cold Steve Austin winning it, and the birth of Austin 316 was here in Milwaukee. So having like a king and queen of the ring PLE here in Milwaukee would be very awesome and very historic. Like also they can have Steve Austin like make an appearance. Like not saying he had to wrestle or anything like that. End up making a speech or probably be down here like the day before or the day after the PLE meet and greet appearance, and it will be very very busy. So I'm thinking they could have done something like that, and oh believe me, WWE would have made their money if they would have do something like that. But as I mentioned in my post, it seems like Milwaukee is like trying to like playing with something with WWE. We don't know what, or we don't know what's fully going to be going on. But yeah, something big is coming, and in wrestling here in Milwaukee. So I think I said a little bit too much, but I didn't say enough. But there's some details that I know that I really can't say right now that I didn't spill. So I'm okay with that. But anyways, if we know more about it, we will talk about it. Yeah, and some people did miss the Saturday night main event due to the weather. Um, Testosterone was stuck in Detroit. He couldn't like get to Montreal, and I think Alicia Taylor was stuck in I believe yeah she was stuck in no wait a minute. I think it was the new guy that calls SmackDown matches. I think he didn't make it, and Alicia Taylor ended up taking this place for SmackDown. And Lillian Garcia, of course, she's gonna be doing ring announcing when it comes to Saturday night's main event. So yeah, so it just stands on here. So I guess Alicia Taylor is still having trouble, getting to. I forgot where Raw's gonna be next tomorrow, but I think they're gonna be back in the States. So yeah, yeah, because Alicia Taylor is stuck in the airport, and Lillian Garcia will announce tomorrow night's Raw. Might as well say later on tonight's Raw. Like I know they back in like town for like just for today, and they go to Saudi Arabia this weekend because SmackDown on Friday, then Saturday you got the Royal Rumble will be during the day, so good timing. But yeah, but I think that was pretty little things that I wanted to, talk about when it comes to wrestling. So I think Bruce Pritchard amidst WPLE is a pain. No, you're just old. Just retire. Kind of the same thing, with Michael Hayes. Just retire. They just, I don't know. They just need new direction with creative writing. Just really need a new direction with creative, because it's just not yeah, it's just not that great. Okay, so move on from that and let's get to Milwaukee Development. I know this don't have much to do with Milwaukee, but in a way it does, because of this was like in plans for like years. So why that goes from Milwaukee to Chicago. Now it's going to make an extension to Pewaukee and Madison. Like I said, this has been talked about for years, and I know they try and get the train like to go from here up to Green Bay at some point. So yeah, so now they saying they know when the service will start. Oh wow. And Amtrak Hawaiian passenger trains could be rolling into Madison by 2029. Damn, that's 3 years. Thought they would have done something by now. They was just like talking about it for years, you know what I mean? Let's see. Passenger rail operator and the Wisconsin Department of Transportation continue to advance a study of extending Hawaii services beyond current. Let's see. Presentations. Presentation. Sorry. From Amtrak to multiple Waukesha County. Both the claims indicate that the rail service hopes to extend 2 round trips trains per day to Pewaukee, Watertown, and Madison as early as 2029. It will later add faster service to Madison with 4 round trips as part of adding second route to the Boilers line between the Twin Cities, Milwaukee, and Chicago, with new stops in Eau Claire and Madison. Okay, we knew it going from Chicago, Milwaukee, then Eau Claire, then going to excuse me, St. Paul, Minnesota. So that started, I think it was like the year before, in late 2023, I believe, early 2024. So they started that. So of course, that idiot Skywalker Day rejected for, like I said, it was planned once before. Like, there's some elected officials just won't let us have anything and that we deserve. Oh, believe me, there's some people in this like state, that act like idiots that doesn't deserve anything, but that's not fair to take away from the people that, work hard, do what they need to do with their life and all that stuff. So that's not fair, take things away from those people that deserve it. It really isn't. I'll talk about the travel speed. Oh, 50 minutes from Watertown to Milwaukee. A minimum of 55 minutes versus a minimum of 55 minutes by automobile. Okay, so from Milwaukee to Milwaukee, it will take 24 minutes, down from 28 minutes of driving. So it made it seem like they may go a little bit more faster. I don't know. Maybe that would be the case. But yeah, it's like, of course, you got the Amtrak, that runs, Milwaukee to the, airport, Stewart, that's in Racine County, Glenview, and Chicago. So, and the Boilers line, 1 round trip per day, with the extension is going to Columbus, Wisconsin, Portraits, Wisconsin Dells, Tomahawk, La Crosse, Winona, Red Wing, and St. Paul. So yeah, that's the original one. So they trying to say they trying to like extend it or change it more, because that's what it seems like. That they try to put it more out there. So to the west, several sites are under consideration in the village of Pewaukee. That includes the site of historic train station, now a parking lot at Wisconsin Avenue and Capitol Drive. Oh, that must be in Pewaukee. So, because Wisconsin Avenue and Capitol Drive would not connect here in Milwaukee, so that would not work. Okay, so the projects usually depend on DOT and federal funding, said the Village of Pewaukee administrator when the village board discussed on the project. Oh, okay, they discussed it this past October. So the construction will occur for that next year and the year after, with service, of course, starting in 2029. So yeah, slow start, but at least it's finally picking up. But they gotta worry about getting the grants and all that other stuff. So fair enough. Okay, so that's that, and we are gonna look at some Okay, so I guess I do gotta talk about something wrestling wise. So right now, as y'all know, we sponsor recent Legacy Pro Wrestling events. We also sponsor Slamman Championship Wrestling, including their February 21st show. So I know I'm looking at it right now, but yeah, we are in current talks with Battle Tested Pro Wrestling to be, for WFSO to be a sponsor. So, they got a lot going on, and they got like a new location that they're gonna do their shows in New Berlin. Um, yeah, I have my reasons for that city, but still gonna go if that's the case. So they're trying to come up like with ideas like what they want to do with if they want to do their shows on the Sunday or wherever the case may be. Not sure. Gabriella and Chete D81, welcome to the live. I appreciate it. I think it's been a long time since you've been here, I believe. Yeah, long time. But anyways, like I said, let's go to some comic book news. And for those people that hate on Jordan Grace because y'all think how she looks is like sickening because she muscular, I give people this that hate on Jordan Grace. Um, I've been a fan of her since I noticed her in TNA and got like a pic to prove it, and I still got a picture for her that I want her to sign, and I'm gonna take like a recent like picture with her. No, hopefully SmackDown will be in Milwaukee and she'll be there, and yeah, it'll be cool. Of course, we know about Avengers Endgame being re-released, and speaking of which, of course, new Marvel content that's gonna be coming out this Tuesday, which is Wonder Man. Supposed to come out December, but they pushed it back a month, and yeah, and critics are saying, it's the best Marvel TV show there is. But then again, they have them going to say that, like it's officially true. But I think they didn't say that much when it came to freaking Ironheart. It was like come on. I thought Ironheart was very good. I don't know. You probably got some of these people that maybe they're racist about a black person like with making this character. They said the character debuted in 2000 or 2008. It was one of the two, either 2000 or 2008. But come on, it's like you gotta introduce a new generation like different characters, and it seems like some people just they can't do that. It's like, okay, we can't have a black Captain America, or we can't have a Black Wonder Man, or whatever the case may be. It's just like, really, stop. Get out of the 1800s and and grow up. I know it's kind of the same thing, with the people, with how America is today, and they're being happy with certain wannabe police shooting up people for like no reason because they think they threatened. They're supposed to like, so-called trained to shoot to kill. And that's what they talk about. Police were trained to shoot to kill. No, they only shoot if they have no choice. Because if you've seen some cop shows, you see like they tase them first. If that doesn't work and they realize they really getting threatened, then they shoot. But me, just shoot them in the leg. It'll stop them from like running towards you. Shoot them in the leg. You're not killing them, but shoot them in the leg. I don't know, but these wannabe police officers, it's not making the world like any better. Yeah, they gotta have Adam Warlock in Secret Wars or something. They gotta have him be part of something. Like I don't know what's going on. Okay. Okay. Some update about somebody dying. Not thinking. Scarlet Witch project reportedly in the works. Being made for the Mutant Saga. They already mentioned because they didn't solve the problem of if Wanda Maximoff ended up surviving in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So we still don't know, but right now it's like they pointed in that she died and probably like a variant of the Scarlet Witch, still played by Elizabeth Olsen. Um, Maybe she'll be like that variant and start fresh. So hey, I understand that. We got a different variant of Wolverine that's played by Hugh Jackman. So why not? Um, yeah. Right now they're not sure. They're thinking they're gonna do like two separate films of Secret Wars. And I know somebody questioned like, what was the point of Doomsday? I'm like, was and I like comment, what's wrong with more Marvel content? Then he said, but Doomsday is setting up for Secret Wars. You just answered your own question. Okay, I was supposed to be the dumb one, and there's people, social media and sports media today, just proving I'm not the dumb one. And I thought I would be the dumb one, but they keep proving me wrong. Sports media, social media, yeah, everybody, just proving me wrong. Okay, Doomsday supposed to run close to 3 hours. But then again, you may have end credits. You never know. Evan Peters and Rebecca Hall said they'll be open returning. With Rebecca Hall's character, if y'all remember her from Iron Man 3, um, don't know how that's possible, which she died in Iron Man 3. Um, Evan Peters, maybe a variant of Quicksilver, that's possible. Maybe Rebecca Hall's character maybe be a variant of her. You never know. But I can see, Evan Peters playing Quicksilver. That can always come back because it could be a variant. You never know. Um, oh yeah, because Matthew Litter will be on season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Season okay, the trailer for season 2 of Daredevil will be released very soon, and they're saying it may not come out in March, so they don't know. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will be releasing a new 4K UHD steelbooks on April 17th. And of course, next year you're gonna have the third and final installment of the Spider-Man Spider-Verse trilogy. I think it said June 2020, June of next year, I believe. Disney will be at CinemaCon on April 16th. The panel will last in 2 hours. So, and the top highest rated MCU projects on Rotten Tomatoes. I wouldn't call X-Men 97 like a MCU project, unless you want to call it as, the multiverse or something like that, maybe. But I guess right now X-Men '97 is the best animated show when it comes to MCU on Rotten Tomatoes. The best Marvel TV show is right now is Miss Marvel still. Second best animated is your favorite neighborhood Spider-Man season one. They're gonna move season two. I thought it was gonna show it in June, but they moved it to fall. And I think the second season of X-Men '97 is going to be in the summer instead. Wonder Man, yeah, and it hasn't been released yet, and it's getting good reviews. And okay, the highest rated movie in MCU of all time, according to Rotten Tomatoes, is Black Panther, the first one. Yeah, I can understand why, and it was something different. Okay, okay, Hawkeye producer confirmed that the timing didn't work out for season two, which we can understand, but you don't need to wait like years and years to actually do it. But then again, you try to lowball Jeremy Renner for his role, like he's gonna do more of the work, but he's not gonna get the pay that he was getting for season one. Really, I don't know. I understand, people is like, with these corporate greeds of studios and stuff like that trying to be cheap, but they want you to pay for content. And another problem with the MCU is you cannot buy any of their series except for the series that was with aligned with ABC and Netflix. Like you can buy them, but you cannot buy any of the TV series that from Disney Plus because D- Disney will be making more money if they release like digital copies of their TV series. Because not everybody gonna always want to go to Disney Plus to watch it, and I'm still puzzled in my mind. They started, the TV part in 2021 with WandaVision. Like they released DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that, but they haven't released any digital copies. Which it still blows my mind that they still ain't doing it, and they could be making a lot more money by that. And some of the stuff, they lost. They claim they lost with the part of it, with big costs and stuff like that. Um, why are you not putting anything out on digital copy? Because a lot of people will like to buy a digital copy instead of always watching on Disney Plus. Okay, if you want to release it like months after it's released from Disney Plus, do that. But don't hold people off and be like, okay, we're not gonna sell any digital copies of the MCU, which, like I said, Disney will be making a lot more money if they actually do digital copies. Like there's still people that buy the Blu-ray and the DVD, but a lot of people is more comfortable buying digital copies of TV shows in the MCU if it existed, which it don't. So yeah, they're ass backwards on that one. So excuse my French, but yeah, they so backwards on everything. It just don't make any sense. Um, Season three of Born Again will start shooting this March. It will last all the way up to July, so shorter than usual. So I guess they know what they running with. Okay. And plus, I mentioned something that sorry. That's crazy. I just lost my train of thought and I knew what I was gonna say. Let me see what I was looking for. Oh yeah, with Sony now, letting Marvel Studios, with using more of the Marvel characters that they own, which is some of the Spider-Man characters and the ones they control. It's like the sad thing, Marvel Studios because when it comes to the TV series of the Kingpin, but when it comes to the movies, Sony owns it. I'm sorry, it's just like this whole thing, with the deals. But I can understand at the time Marvel has to sell because they seemed like they wasn't do anything good. And plus, the movies they had, like The Punisher in the late '80s and the unreleased Fantastic Four in the '90s and Captain America that was around 1990 as well. I don't even know if that movie had been released. I heard about it, but just never seen it. So yeah, there have been stuff that just hasn't been good for Marvel. I think one of the saving graces was for Marvel was X-Men, the anime series that debuted in 1992, which got me starting to be a comic book fan watching X-Men. Like I said, you see like all this stuff, X-Men like in the past, they did have that going on, especially have Wolverine talk Australian. Excuse me. So you did like have that, but I think I wasn't like towards want to watch it more and more. And plus, it only lasted for like one season of the X Men, like in the late '80s. But I did get into RoboCop, which I didn't know. Marvel Comics were working with I think the team that owns RoboCop like put them in the comics because I got the very first comic book of RoboCop that was by Marvel. So I don't know. Maybe Marvel should talk to the people that owns like RoboCop again and probably actually put him on proper like comic books. Well, maybe you can like have him like you gotta have him like join the MCU or something like that. You can probably have him like have his own timeline. Then suddenly he end up joining with Avengers or something like that. I don't know. It's just an idea that's on my head. Like I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but you know you know Disney buying up everything. You got Netflix buying everything. Things is possible. I guess I'm just upset that that they could have Disney could have brought WB, could have owned DC, could have done collaborations of Marvel and DC, like some of the comic books they done in like the '90s with each other, and some of the comic books they doing now. Where you have Batman teaming up with Deadpool and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like you can just have all that stuff out, and it would have been great. But let's look at some DC updates before we end the show. And I've been on here a little bit longer than I said, but then again, you have a lot of stuff to talk about, and you're just running with it before you forget. So I try to explain that to my wife. Like that's how I am. If I like interrupt somebody, I had to I had this idea. I gotta get it out now before I forget. And like y'all saw, what I was going to talk about with Sony and the Marvel Studios partnership. I was dumbfounded and forgot about that. I mean, like, oh, it was something I want to talk about. I can't even remember. So yeah, things like that. That's why I end up going into it. Talk about it. Like if it comes to my head, bam, going. But yeah, let's see. Okay, okay. Of course, they're not sure the Penguin season two. No. First they say it's canceled. Now they saying it's a question mark. They don't know what's going on with the DC Elseworld. Oh yeah, they did show. Okay, never mind that. Official art for Lobo's. I guess that's his logo. You can see here, and they did show a first look of Lobo. Um, um, let's see. Yep, and the first look at Lobo for those who's watching it pre-recorded. So, so it all worked out for Jason Momoa. He played Aquaman in the DCEU, I should say. So it all worked out for him, and being part of the DCEU. So that's cool. Man Tomorrow has reportedly applied for Ohio motion picture tax credits under the working title Exodus. If approved, Cleveland will once again double as Metropolis. I think they might have did it for the recent Superman movie. I didn't even wasn't even thinking about that. But you know what? Hey, cool. Um, Sam Reddy said he once tried to make a Batman movie. Oh, he couldn't get the rights. Maybe they brought him in and maybe have his own own version of Batman. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it really ain't much, to go on with anything else. So it's either for super. Like I said, we already explained. Of course, still Warner Brothers Discovery has said 93% of the shareholders have rejected the Paramount's inferior scheme in favor of Netflix $83 billion deal. Because I think Paramount was going to pay them like 100 and something million, along with some people that with Saudi Arabia or something like that. I guess some people think it's a bad thing that Netflix got WB. Um, I can understand why people would be upset. They might have limited movie releases on theater releases on certain things. Um, I'm gonna say it all depends, cause I wouldn't say theater is dead, but I think theaters are coming back, especially with AMC with their A-list deals and stuff like that. Like you get deals and getting off, and plus they doing with AMC doing half off Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So you have that. Then you have other movie things like the Marcus doing their Tuesday thing, and they got this movie club that I just recently joined. Was it like all movies you can go see would be like $9.99. That's for the thing. And with the A list thing with AMC, there's two movies I saw this month, and I saw them for free. So Sunset Blue was one of them, and I did do a video on that one. And the recent movie that came out Thursday, Mercy, I saw too. And it's preview day, which I think awesome movie so far. Awesome movie. Um, yeah, both movies were good in my opinion. I think I ended up giving Sunset Blue a 10, and I think I gave Mercy a 9.5 or a 9 or something like that. I guess I think it was like something that was missing. But anyways, if y'all on YouTube, find the video, it is up. And plus, sometime this week, I know we got to talk about the movies that we recently saw. We did saw 28 Years Later. The I think it's the Bone Temple or the Bone Collector or whatever they call it. But yeah, we saw it this past Saturday. Then we saw this latest supposed to be so-called series of The Conjuring, which has nothing to do with the Conjuring series. You see like in theaters, but it's like its own thing. That's basically what it is, its own thing. She saw the one that was out before. It was came out like a year or two ago, and she didn't like that. And we watched the Conjuring the Cult. Um, the movie was so bad that it was still like worth watching. That it's just the plot of the story. It was just like so confusing. We just had like a gag over it, like just a big old laugh. It was just interesting. Yeah, there ain't that much update with uh yeah, there's really ain't much difference to talk about. Okay, both genres, both Marvel and DC talking about the first look at He-Man. I don't really look at all of them because I didn't see it yet, and yeah, basically, there's nothing really. Yeah, there's nothing changed. So, oh yeah, Christina Hobson, who did the Flash, Birds of Prey, which I thought the Birds of Prey was good, and the unreleased Batgirl movie, which we're never gonna see because DC are flakes. So she's gonna be writing Batman Brave and the Bold with Andy Machete directing it. So cool. Because I know they're trying to like release Brave and the Bold after Batman Part 2. or trying to work on something on that. And just a lot of stuff, that seems like, DU is working on, and let's just wait and see. So with that, guys, we're gonna end it from here. I appreciate y'all staying with me as long as we plan. We just try playing it for like an hour, but it ended up being longer than that. And to those who know who stayed up with us live, I appreciate it. Once again, you guys, I think we didn't get to the 500 likes this time for the free autograph for Bushwhacker Luke. So yeah, maybe we'll try next time. I may end up going live for Monday Night Raw tomorrow. So I may do a watch party. I don't know yet. It may be, a wait and see, but we'll see. So we'll do the watch party probably, just on YouTube, and also my personal TikTok page. But anyway, guys, like I said, please like and subscribe if you can. If you're watching through YouTube, check out our website, wrestlefanspeakout.weebly.com, with upcoming events and things like that, and videos like this as well. Thank our sponsors, Midwest Wrestling Collectibles. They do have a Facebook page, so you interested in some wrestling merch. It's just their final year of doing it. So they're going to have some stuff that's interesting. It's on our own website as well. Also, Great Scott Sports Cards, they're on our website as well, so you can find more information about them. Go ahead and check them out. And thanks to who were proud sponsors of. We're proud sponsors of SNME Championship Wrestling. Like I said, they got a show coming up on February 21st, I'm sorry. Which would be, I think it'll be a day show before they do. Yeah, Bruce City Wrestling will have a show after that. Hey, we did get away a pair of tickets for that show today, and we're gonna do another one. I think next week, not this coming week, but next week we're gonna do one more giveaway for a pair of tickets. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested, if you're in the Milwaukee area, yeah. And we're also a proud sponsor of Maddie's Memory. Somebody that's dealing with pregnancy and infant loss. Maddie's Memory can help you, your grief, resources and things that will help you with your journey. You can also, if you want to just donate to the cause, there's a QR code on our website, maddiesmemory.org. Yeah, scan the QR code. No, it doesn't matter how much you send in, but it will help a ton. With stuff. And like I said, minor stuff. Maddie's Memory was lost in the fire in the U-Haul. Like I said, minor stuff. But most of the stuff, we were, trying to I won't say most of it. I think this is most of it we had to condense because we had to move. But yeah, it was some minor stuff in Maddie's Memory that was lost, but mostly it was my stepson's stuff that was in that storage locker with that U-Haul fire was lost. So, and like I said, we still figure out what we're gonna do from that point on, what we want to do. So it's just all like a wait and see. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for watching. Like I said, thank you for staying up for this long. And I know probably some of y'all probably got school tomorrow, so if you wake up late and go to school late, just blame me. It was my fault for keeping y'all up, this long. And most of the times I normally would be asleep by then, but just one of those days. Anyways, guys, man up, woman up, face up, check your mental health. This continue of WFSO week. It ends tomorrow with a season premiere of WFSO's Top 10, which I believe will be 2:00 Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, I believe, right here on YouTube. So you get a chance, check that out. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and see you. See y'all later. Bye. Get into here too, and